How did day 1 and 2 go for Lake Fork in the Bassmaster Elites? Bassmaster Elites are on Lake Fork. Day 1 happened yesterday. I'm filming this as day 2 is going. This is a little bit after 1, and Lake Fork has turned out. This is a great tournament for the Bassmaster Elites. Now, if you don't know, Chris Zaldain is streaming his whole day live. I have watched a lot of his tournament instead of watching Bass. No disrespect at all, but I personally cannot take any more commercials. 4 commercial breaks per hour, the halftime show, it's just too much. I'd rather watch Chris and not get any commentary than turning it on and seeing interviews or other bullshit than fishing. I want to watch fishing. And I think a lot of people do too, because in Chris's case, at one point in time, yesterday on day 1, he had 19,000 plus people watching on Twitter, X, and he had over 1,000 people watching on YouTube. So he has had an absolutely unbelievable stream for the whole day. And his day 1 was pretty spectacular. Day 2, this has not been a good day for him. But day 1, he was on fire. But there's been some absolute giants caught this week. Almost scary amount, because a lot of the anglers that are forward-facing sonar dominant do not cast at anything that's under 5 or 6 pounds. That's insane. It also makes for slightly boring fishing, because they're just out there watching that live scope and that trolling motor go like this the whole time, trying to find that big fish. Those 3 and 4 pound fish are just nothing. Not a cast, not anything. And I think that's where a lot of frustration comes in with the average angler, the average fan. I think we're sick and tired of watching less casting and less fishing. And on the Elites, that's what we seem to get. We seem to get way too many commercials, and then a halftime show that does bring in a little bit of fishing. But what halftime show have we had that's out there goes on when the sport is happening? There's a reason why it's called halftime. There's nothing going on. If the halftime show wants to be there, stop the fishing between 11 and 12. Give all the anglers the break. Let them do whatever they want. Then we might like that halftime show more. But for whatever reason, Bass is just choking us with this halftime show. Even more so, they're killing us with commercials. Hence why I watch the Chris Zaldain feed. There just isn't any commercials. Now in this tournament, it is catch, weigh, and release. Unless you catch one over the slide, then you can bring it back to the weigh-in. But the weigh-in's already pretty much announced. I'll be honest, I like this kind of fishing better than I like the weigh-ins right now. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm sick of weigh-ins and maybe it's just me, but maybe I just find the weigh-ins too long and boring at this point in time. I want to know when they're finished, who is where, and what their weights are. And in this tournament you're getting that. It's almost like the BPT format. Catch, weigh, release. We know where everyone stands when it's lines out. And I like that and appreciate it. But day 1, they had Buddy Gross had a sack with 33.9, Trey McKinney at 32.5, Jay Shakurat at 31.2, Coyote Fujita at 31 even, Paul Marks at 30.13. And can you talk about momentum for someone fishing? Paul Marks won the last tournament, comes here to Fork, is right there in the lead in the top 5, top 6. And then of course Dakota Ebear, who had a bad start, but finished day 1 off with 30.1 pounds of fish. It was an amazing day of fishing. It really was. It was massive. There were so many bags over 30 pounds, 6 bags over 30 pounds, and we're already talking about the Century Belt here in the middle of the day on the second day of tournament. We think there probably could be that 5 to 8 guys that make the century mark. And that is unbelievable. And I think my biggest surprise is I really thought Ben Milliken was going to do much better. He had 4 fish. He didn't catch his limit. He had 4 fish for 21 pounds. It was a surprise. I really did think he was going to be on fire. I heard he had a little tirade with some swear words. I didn't catch that, luckily, because I was watching the Zaldain feed. and I thought it was better. And my other complaint was on day tune at 10:47 during one of the commercial breaks. They had the main screen showing the commercial and that little blob on the side with an angler. And of course, they weren't even showing an angler fishing. They were showing Buddy Gross eating. Just what we all want. Just why we tune into Bassmasters. We tune in to watch fishing. Nope, not in this case. We turn in to watch commercials and Buddy Gross eating. I don't know who's in charge of the feed or the switching of the camera angles, but you suck at your job. And I know that's harsh, but in all honesty, if they have 6 camera guys, 6 boats with camera on them, not one of those guys was fishing, and we had to watch someone eat and drink and run the boat. I mean, these are the small little things that make the fans just dislike what's going on at Bassmaster. And I don't know who's in charge of the whole thing. I really don't. But they're not very good at their job at this point in time, because it doesn't take much to click a button and make a different person show up in that screen. And you have to take some pride in your job and what you're doing. And at times, I'm not sure that Bassmaster takes pride in what they're doing. I think they think, we're gonna run as many commercials as possible. We're gonna do interviews when the anglers are fishing. We're gonna not show fishing at all. But they expect the fan to keep coming back and watching the same thing over and over and over. It's like watching a train wreck. It's like an accident on the road. You turn your head and you hope, oh my gosh, I hope they're okay. But at the same time, you think to yourself, God, I wish that person knew how to drive better. And that's what I think every time I watch the elites these days. What's going on? Are we making changes or are we not making changes? Because it seemed like we were, and then the last 2 days, it seems like we've just jumped back miles behind. And there is no pride in what they're doing. Are they creating a good platform for what's going on out there? At this point, no. They're doing a disservice for those guys who luckily aren't paying to fish, but are trying to promote their sponsors. And they're not able to because Bass is only concerned with how many commercials they can put down our throats. And quite honestly, I think everyone who has a live stream are the people we should be watching. But maybe I'm wrong. I will say, they had Fujita had a phase there during the midday that was just unbelievable. But you still had to watch somebody eat instead of fish. And I'm really tired of it. What do you think? Comment below and tell me what you think. Thanks to all the new subscribers and members and everyone who's interactive on the channel. I really do appreciate it. Top 50 make it into Saturday. We'll see who's in and who's out. We'll talk about it later on. But do me a favor, click that like and subscribe and become part of the team and family. It's quick, easy, and it's free. Remember, take a kid fishing, tight lines, shears, and get your fish on.